Draza, how does that feel, being able to win with this squad and get them back on top after over 400 days?
I mean, it feels great. I mean, like I said before, too, I run that org. They haven't beat me in forever. And where's that Runner Scrappy at?
I guess MC was lighting up the Miami Heretics in scrims. So Lucky texted him like, yo, is there a problem with your right trigger?
Probably hearing his heart beating now. Smoke out, gets it ball one. Down to a 1 versus 1. And Rip, it's Cell that makes the plays. There's the extra sauce. But it's Skies that's battling on the point. And now... Last matchup, Simps like, I can do better, looking for double digits. And in a grand final, he won't slow down, up to 11. It's a godly effort, 12. Keeps going, another 13.
Major 2 Miami was incredible last weekend. I was fortunate enough to see most of the matches happen in person. And if this weekend showed us one thing, it's that LAN Call of Duty is unmatched. But it felt like every series I was glued to the screen, and the entire weekend did not disappoint. I'm going to run through the tournament bracket as well as breaking down a lot of the drama that happened last weekend. And one of the biggest talking points this entire weekend was how FaZe just completely disrespected the entire COD League. From shooting bodies to talking trash on stage, Atlanta FaZe gave us some really good content this week. So with that said, let's get right into the video and recap Major 2 Miami. The weekend started with a highly anticipated matchup, Toronto Ultra versus Vegas Legion, and Scrap and Ultra came out swinging. Throughout the Major 2 split, Vegas started looking better, and Purge and Geo started improving individually as players. But unfortunately, Ultra is just the better team. Legion needed Attach to go crazy this weekend if they wanted to make a run, but unfortunately, in their first matchup against Ultra, they ended up getting swept. Vegas could have very well won these maps, but they couldn't close it out, and Ultra continued to the winners bracket while Vegas was looking to make their losers run. And then it was NYSL and Breach's turn to set the stage. Breach was struggling a bit during the Major 2 split. After Major 1, Breach picked up ASIM, looking to improve their chances of making champs. And in the first map on the Skid Row hardpoint, Breach won, and ASIM had to let him know.
What do you know?
But you know what happens when you poke the Bulldog? Well, this.
And he is continuing now, up to 6 kills in this one. Priest has got the angle. Kismet's beaming though. In the 1 versus 3, he gets eyes on him. Damage in. And the Bulldog.
Yeah, so after that, the rest of the series was pretty much chalk. Hydra dropped a 2.67 on the control, and then went on to close out map 4, sending Breach to the losers bracket and showing why they are a top 4 team in this league. And the third matchup of the day was a fan favorite. Optic Texas went up against the hometown team Miami Heretics, and to be honest, there's not much to say about this series. Miami Heretics need to do something because this roster obviously is not working, and I think it all went downhill after Vickle did this during the Major 1 split. So now every time they get 3-0'd, everyone's just throwing up the 3-0 and letting him know that he made a big mistake. But looking at the scoreboard for this matchup, Optic was all on the green, while Miami Heretics were on the opposite end of that, with Metals dropping a 0.57 throughout the entire series. I think we all expected this to happen, and Pred let him know at the end of the series that Optic was ready to make that finals run.
And I think we just turned up the aggression a little bit because we're just giving them too much respect when in reality we shouldn't.
Yeah.
And that's it, man.
The last matchup of the day was the most anticipated in the winners bracket, and that was Atlanta FaZe versus LA Thieves. And this is when Celium just started terrorizing the entire league, shooting bodies left and right, and it all started with this series in map 1. I mean, they hadn't even hit 100 points yet in hardpoint, and this man was already shooting bodies, so you know how they were coming out this weekend. And LA Thieves felt the disrespect and decided to bounce back with a win on the first map, and Ghosty had to let him know.
Striking first and on the board.
FaZe would get the last lav in this series, and the series was pretty close throughout the entire thing. And while FaZe was the better team, LA Thieves did put up a fight and lost the series 3-2, with FaZe moving on to the winners bracket and LA Thieves going down into losers, matching up against a team they share a city with. And so that was the end of day 1. The top 4 teams prevailed as we all expected, and day 2 is where the elimination matches began. The losers bracket did not disappoint, and Friday started with Minnesota Rocker playing against Breach, and throughout this major, Breach underperformed. With Slasher on the roster, you'd think that their S&D would be really polished, but unfortunately that's not the case, and that's one of the modes they struggle with the most. After winning the first map, they fell down 2-1, winning the sub-base hardpoint, but once again losing the S&D, and Vivid set the tone early, getting a nasty 1v3, which eventually led to a W for the Rocker.
Cash is back, trying to win the fight. Stun out, it'll hit, but not till one drops. Vivid at least able to take out one. This would be a 1 versus 3. 40 seconds to go. Vivid rival in hand.
This is the
Hunting
timing.
for info. Can he get the great timing? He does. Able to nuke one. Onto it he goes. 1v3. Vivid is rolling.
Sending Breach back to Boston early and waiting to see who they played from the LA Thieves and LAG matchup. And DiamondCon and the Gorillas came out swinging, and I'm kind of mad because they ruined my bracket. Last video I posted my bracket. Here it is on the screen again. This was my original bracket, but I had to give credit where credit is due. DiamondCon was frying this event, and LAG has really performed much better on LAN than they did online. For most people, I would say LA Thieves was the favorite for this matchup, but the glaring issue for this team is the sub duo. Afro really struggled in the respawns, which led to their eventual early exit from the tournament. Estriel is another strong piece for this team as a sub, and I think he's pretty underrated, but LAG was showing signs of improvement from the first major, and they had to let LA Thieves know that they were just better. With Fame sending shots at LA Thieves, and this is looking like a rivalry brewing for LAG and LA Thieves. But at Major 2, LAG got the last laugh. And next up, Carolina got their first chance to play, and it was against the hometown team in the losers bracket. Miami Heretics up to this point were 0-9 in map count on LAN, and unfortunately for them, this series was no different. This event was massive for Carolina. They were looking for a morale boost, and this first matchup against Miami definitely gave it to them, with Carolina winning 3-0, and the veteran Clayster going massive with some crazy S&D clutches like this one.
15 seconds on the clock.
You're not going to expect this, but do you have time? Do you have time to get to the bomb? He doesn't finish the kill, and the clock working against him. Clay and Fellow clutch on up. Bomb planted at B. Clay now 5 in a row, looking for number 6.
They could not trade Clayster or Gwyn, who had a 1.38 and a 1.5, and the crowd was absolutely loving the Ravens. Hey, including myself. Look, there's me. Hey.
We do not care.
But Miami Heretics is now 0-12 on LAN. They haven't won a single map on LAN, and that's heartbreaking. So we'll see what they can do going into this next split. But for day 2, Carolina was feeling good, and they were getting ready to play the winner of Vegas Legion versus Seattle. The team morale of Seattle Surge is, I don't know, it's really, really low. And they didn't have much hope against Vegas Legion. The only sign of life for this team really is Hook. But they didn't go down 0-3 like Miami. They ended up taking away the search on high rise, but they cannot keep up with Legion on the respawn game modes. And Attach was doing his thing this series. He had a 1.38, and this team was showing signs of life, sending the Seattle Surge home early. The Seattle Surge need to make some changes if they want to make champs. But as for this event, they earned 0 CDL points and are now sitting 10th in the regular season standings. And for day 3, Legion was looking to match up against Carolina Royal Ravens, which was one of my favorite matches of the entire event, but we'll get to that very shortly. Day 2 closed with the LAG versus Rocker matchup, and looking at the scoreboard, it was clear that Rocker just got absolutely outslayed this entire series. Estriel stepped up in some big ways, especially in the S&D when he got this ace.
Maybe you just try and go and find him, as we're going to see a replay from Estriel. He's the player going from up top. Some great shots with the rival throughout the round. Not easy through the window, but here's...
And Rocker could not do anything when DiamondCon was doing things like this. LAG stepped up in a major way on LAN. In fact, during the split, they went 1-6, but on LAN, they went 2-2. So they showed some signs of improvement this major. And one tweet kind of says it all about this entire series. The funny part is, on the stat sheet, Rocker got rinsed. If you watch the match, Rocker got rinsed. The numbers aren't lying here. And with that said, LAG moved on in the losers bracket, looking to break the top 4 and make champ Sunday. And day 3 is where things really started heating up. Day 3 started off with a bang. The Carolina Royal Ravens played against Vegas Legion in an extremely close series. Map 1 started on the Skid Row hardpoint, where Vegas Legion just dominated, and Purge dropped 3 records in this map. He now has the hardpoint KD record, lowest number of deaths in a hardpoint and most hill time. So it's safe to say Vegas Legion was looking to make their run, but Ravens clapped back in map 2 with TJ Halley going 12-4, getting Clayster really hyped up for this next map, and the Ravens dominated the control 3-0. But Legion wasn't going to go out that easy, so Attach and Nero took matters into their own hands on map 4, with Attach dropping a 1.24 and Nero with a 1.5, winning in an extremely close Rio hardpoint. And then it all came down to the invasion. It came all the way down to the wire, to the round 11, where the rookie Purge made a bad play pushing up on defense, getting first blooded, giving the Ravens an opportunity to plant the bomb, and they took full advantage of it, winning the offense in round 11, and the venue was going crazy when this happened.
Time. It's not worked out. Again. It's Fellow. It's the Ravens.
It just came down to the wire and set the stage for day 3, and the rest of the tournament was just great match after great match. Atlanta FaZe came back to play NYSL in the winners bracket, and Celium was back to shooting bodies. It happened in the map 1 on Rio hardpoint, where Celium gave Hydra a little bit of extra love, and once again in the SND. But NYSL wasn't going to go down that easy, taking the map 3 control and then bouncing back and winning map 4, and Kismet had to let Celium and the FaZe guys hear it.
Oh, the distance, Kismet. It's standing. Skies is on his feet.
But Celium wasn't going to let that slide, and in the first round of the S&D, he did this.
Doing it to Sib. There's two that line up in front and Cell. Maybe making the play. Trying to stay alive. Pushes in. And Cell goes nuclear.
Which prompted NYSL to start bringing out their S&D strats, where Hydra honestly ruined rank play for all of us, because now everybody is going to be using this. Hydra hit this insane wallbang, and it showed that NYSL was extremely prepared this weekend, probably one of the most prepared teams, and it really showed with their S&D spots and their strats. But I think what was even more impressive than that wallbang was how FaZe countered them on their next offense. Hydra went back to do the same wallbang, but FaZe knew better than that, and they hard countered NYSL, which eventually led to FaZe showing why they are the best team in the game, ultimately winning the series 3-2, sending NYSL to the losers bracket to play Carolina. Another great matchup for day 3 came with Optic playing Toronto Ultra. I would like to see the FaZe Ultra matchup, but unfortunately we did not get it this weekend. But it was clear that Optic was prepared and ready to go to the finals. Shotzi was frying on the Karachi hardpoint, and Pred and Dashy went massive in the S&D, going up 2-0, but Scrap was not going to let this slide and responded with an insane control. He had a 44 kill game, and he really just needed help from his teammates to win this weekend. Envoy was underperforming, especially in the respawns, and Scrap is playing like an MVP right now. And they were sent to the losers bracket by Optic Texas, meaning that Optic would match up against FaZe in the winners bracket finals. The Carolina and Vegas matchup was really important for Carolina, because just off of them winning that losers round 2, it put them in 8th place for the regular season. I think they were in 11th or 12th before the event, so now they're in 8th, and they are looking to cement their spot to make COD champs later this year. But unfortunately, when they came out against NYSL was clearly the better team. TJ started off the series hot, but that didn't last too long because Hydra bounced back.
Truly special. You get the rest of the time, you're within 40-50, but Hydra is just, he's taking them apart piece by piece.
Showing why he's one of the best SMGs in the league, and also showing how prepared NYSL was in the searches when Hydra debuted another wallbang spot on Invasion.
Another one.
Go. Still need to plant. Across the bomb, and
we got more. We have more.
More wall bangs from Hydra.
I mean, it's honestly kind of insane that he's shooting through an entire building. I mean, this is wild. He somehow found it, so that, I mean, shout out to Hydra. But they swept the Carolina Royal Ravens in a quick 3-0 fashion, but the maps were relatively close, and the Ravens finished top 6, earning 30 CDL points, but NYSL was moving on in the losers bracket to play the winner of Ultra versus LAG. Scrap was continuing with his MVP performance, and Kleenex and Insight also stepped it up in a big way. LAG was able to take the high-rise S&D, but as far as the respawn goes, I didn't see any way that Toronto was really losing these, and they ended up winning these series 3-1, with Fame being the only player on LAG being positive, sending LAG home, placing top 6, making this a pretty solid event for them. And like we all expected, the top 4 teams prevailed once again, leading to a historic Champ Sunday. Sunday was nothing short of amazing Call of Duty, and to begin the day we had NYSL matchup against Toronto Ultra in the elimination round 4. And like I said in the previous series, scrap was not the problem for this team. They did get 3-0'd in the series, but all the maps were extremely close and winnable for Toronto Ultra. But Hydra and Skies had a very good series, dropping over a 1.2 KD, and Scrap was really the only person on his team giving them life. He had more damage than everybody in the lobby, but still fell short. YSL had the clutch factor, but they also had another wallbang spot. This time it wasn't Invasion, it was Karachi, and just showed how prepared they were for this event.
When it hit that 7.5, there may have been a little smile on the face of... Oh,
and
no,
look at the wall bang, by the way. Yeah, there it is. I was telling you, the angle they had was insane. That's why they were switching.
Toronto Ultra ultimately ended up placing 4th in the event, and NYSL was on to the losers bracket finals. On the other side of the bracket, in the winners bracket finals, we had a historic matchup against none other than Optic and FaZe. And FaZe started out the series extremely hot. In the first Invasion hardpoint, they went up 110-5, and Optic was looking like they might get swept. But they brought back this map in an insane fashion. They still ended up losing, but the final score to the map was 250-237, and Optic almost made an insane comeback. Map 2 is where the body shots began once again for the FaZe squad, with Celium shooting Pred's body.
There's the extra sauce.
It seems like every time in Call of Duty somebody shoots a body, something very unfortunate happens to them the next round or the next map, and that was exactly the case in this one. Literally, I think it was either the round after or the round after that one, Kenny got a massive 1v2, but every time Optic answered, FaZe responded, and Simp bounced back with a nasty 1v2 of his own.
Able to spot one. Nice shots there. The wall bang hits another 1v1. It's 3 in a row now. 25 to go. Simp, Kenny. Can Kenny go big again? Damage on both sides. It's Simp this time with the 1-on-1.
But that wasn't enough for the FaZe squad, and Optic won the Terminal S&D in around 11, and Pred was getting hype and letting FaZe know. The control came down to the wire, with FaZe making an insane play, winning the control 3-1, and then going on to win the Karachi hardpoint with the same exact score actually as the first map. I just noticed that. 237-250. And Draza, who has really filled into this villain role in the CDO, tweeted shortly after the match, "GG's Optic won 3-1. I run that org." And if you remember, before the season started, Draza actually had an offer from the Optic team, but he turned down the offer because he wanted to play against them, and he's had their number all season. So FaZe sent Optic down to the losers bracket to play against NYSL for a grand finals matchup against FaZe. Optic started off map 1 extremely strong on sub base. Pred popping off, getting a 1.8 KD and 36 kills. He felt that disrespect from Celium the previous series, and he was releasing his aggression on NYSL. But the body shots weren't limited only to FaZe. During the map 2 in a 1v1 of Sib versus Pred, former teammates from last year, Sib ended up coming out on top after snaking him. I'm pretty sure this is Snake. I don't know. The GAs are just chalked at this point. But then he shot Pred's body shortly after winning that one. And NYSL showed off another insane S&D strat with this nade spot, which ultimately ended in a 3-piece explosion, winning them the Karachi S&D. But Optic wanted that major trophy more, and they came back in the Invasion control, winning 3-1. Then following up with another Invasion hardpoint where Optic won 250-210.
Once again.
And on the scoreboard for the Optic squad, it was pretty much all green for everyone except for Shotzi. And for NYSL, Hydra was carrying the squad, but it wasn't enough to get them to the grand finals. Optic knocked NYSL out of the tournament in a pretty close matchup, and we're headed on to rematch against FaZe in a historic grand finals on Champ Sunday. The crowd at the event was electric. Now, grand finals is a best of 7 series, so Optic had the chance to prove themselves against FaZe. The last time they played them was during the Major 1 LAN in Vanguard, and that was the last time Optic won a LAN tournament. So there were high hopes going into the series for the Optic Texas squad, but there's not much you can do when Simp is doing things like this.
Through from red balcony, and he just throws a stun, has a couple of kills, and now push it forward. Simp with 5.
Last matchup, Simp's like, I can do better, looking for double digits, and there it is, 10 in a row in a grand final. He won't slow down. up to 11. It's a godly effort. 12. Keeps going, another 13.
Simp went on a record-breaking 13 kill streak in hardpoint, carrying the squad to a W on Karachi. But Kenny must have been pretty upset from that three-piece nade from Skies during the previous series, and he bounced back with one of his own on the Terminal S&D, where he got a nasty three-piece nade against FaZe, who just all ran into books. I'm just really surprised he didn't throw a trophy down, to be honest, because that was just a really risky play out of them. And Optic prevailed in the Terminal S&D, winning in another round 11. During map 3, it was so close and so winnable for Optic. The end of the control was a heartbreaker for the Optic squad, and it seemed like this was the beginning of the end of their tournament run. Draza was getting hyped, and he even started shooting bodies, and FaZe was just moving different this event. Especially the Tiny Terrors, Simp and Abizi. They were just going stupid throughout this grand finals, and FaZe was just one step ahead of Optic. And the Skid Row hardpoint, Optic made it so close, but could not secure the final rotation, and ultimately FaZe locked it down and ended up getting another W. And Optic was down 3-1, with FaZe having all of the momentum in this series. Eventually, in the Rio Search and Destroy, FaZe came out victorious, showing that they are truly the best team in the game right now. And for the Optic squad, the only person that really put up a fight for this team was Kenny, who had 109 kills throughout the entire series. But Simp was just a little bit better, having 111 kills, dropping a 1.29 KD, and winning the MVP of this event. And FaZe have now beat Optic 5 times this season, sending Optic Texas home with 2nd place, and FaZe being your Major 2 Miami champions. But it doesn't end there. Simp won the MVP for the event, and that is well deserved from him. But the real drama came from Draza's post-game interview when he said this.
Great. I mean, like I said before too, I run that org. They haven't beat me in forever, and where's that Dick Rider Scrappy at? Is he already going home? Like, I don't know what's going on here. But
once again, the Twitter war between Scrap and Draza started. Scrap sitting rent-free under that tweet of Draza's post-game interview. And I mean, at this point, it was just Call of Duty, but then their girlfriend started getting involved again. And it just got, I mean, it's way past the point of Call of Duty trash talk at this point. I mean, this is just a wild situation, bro. Like, it's gone too far at this point. And I'm not sure how this is going to play out, but the entertainment is great for us. But even as of today, Draza has still commented on the Scrap situation.
Because I'm rich, handsome, I have a house. I don't care.
What? Oh, behind.
Pick up on you.
Who cares?
One shot, dead.
Because I'll just run and win another tournament. Like, I don't care.
Copy, dude.
My biggest moments of my life, guess what? I won champs. His biggest moment in his whole entire life. Everything he's worked for the whole time. 5-0, not one, Matt.
But it's definitely some good storyline and entertainment for the COD League. I just want to see Toronto versus FaZe on LAN. That's all I'm asking for. FaZe had the last laugh this weekend, and now we're on to the Major 3 split, which begs the question, what is next for some of these teams in the COD League? This week, Miami Heretics officially released Journey, so best of luck to him. And LA Thieves made another roster change, benching Afro and starting Joe Deceives, who just made a Challengers run. He ended up getting reverse swept in the finals, and I have to say a shout out to the Challengers League. I got a chance to watch some of the matches, and it's just straight passion over there. People getting up, screaming. The energy is just unmatched over there. And shout out to Gunless, 04, Dak, and Classic, who reverse swept FaZe Black in the grand finals. Just insane resilience out of that team to take home the Challengers Gold. And I would not be surprised if some of these players get picked up. I would really like to see Gunless back in the league. I think they deserve a shot to prove themselves. So we'll see what happens with these guys. But as of right now, these are the CDL standings going into the Major 3 split. Major 2 Miami was so much fun, and it just showed me that we need more LAN events in Call of Duty. LAN Call of Duty beats online COD every single time. And let's get ready for Major 3, which begins on... what day does it start? It starts on Friday, April 12th, which is just 2 weeks away. And it'll give the pros and some of the teams times to test some of the new maps that are coming out. Vista and Departure got added to ranked play, so we'll see if those get into the rotation. And there's also some new maps coming in Season 3. So hopefully we can get some new maps in. So I'm excited for what's to come for the rest of the year. But with that said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, leave a like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.